In an era where dining group buys are driving restaurateurs to madness and car prices are collapsing dealerships, there are few products daring to swim against the current of a price war that seems to be bleeding wallets dry. Among these, Badminton and down jackets stand out as the real tough nuts to crack as winter approaches. The price hike of down jackets has once again commenced, with this year's surge being particularly ferocious. The official reason for the increase is cost, with the price of 90% down white goose down rising from 1,069 RMB on May 6 to 1,143 RMB per kilogram on October 4th, marking a 7% increase. Similarly, the price of 90% down white duck down has jumped from 481 kilogram to 535 RMB per kilogram by November 4th, reflecting an 11.15% increase. In department stores, lesser-known brands that one might overlook have price tags that make you gasp. A simple touch reveals a starting price of 500 RMB. Last year's online same model, which was 300 RMB, is now over 400 RMB, even after discounts during this year's Double 11. Garment merchants report that even before the temperature drops, the price of short down jackets has risen by 50 to 80 RMB, while long ones have seen an increase of at least 100 to 200 RMB. The high prices are so daunting that even those who purchase the goods are afraid, hesitant to stock up for fear of being unable to sell them. Those with inventory in hand are holding back, waiting for a significant drop in temperature, confident that prices can still rise by 30%. A more exaggerated statement came from a manufacturer in Chongqing, who, depending on the amount of down filling, estimated that the price of each down jacket could increase by 200 RMB to 500 RMB. For someone accustomed to wearing 100 RMB cotton jackets, it seems I'm not worthy after all. Brands like the Chanel and others have been unambiguous about their collective price increases in previous years. From 2018 to 2021, the average price tag on a certain platform rose by 13% to 80%, with down jackets priced over 1,800 RMB accounting for nearly half of the sales. Other brands like CFE and Lu are also not sparing in their price hikes. By the end of last year, the average price of down jackets in key large retail enterprises nationwide, ranging from 500 to 1,000 RMB, accounted for 65.6% of the market share. Now facing a year of high costs, it seems like a perfect excuse to raise prices again. The Pinghu Down Jacket Index shows that from July this year to late September, the wholesale price index for down jackets has soared close to 130. The growth of badminton is no less remarkable, with duck and goose feathers literally flying sky high. Players complain that even with a monthly salary of tens of thousands, they can hardly afford to play anymore. In just half a year, badminton prices from various brands have increased 4 times, with a general rise of 40%. And some models have seen an increase of over 60%. Some say that the price of 3 cans of badminton balls is now approaching that of a gram of gold. Brands like Li Ning, Double Happiness, and Victor have successively issued price increase notices. Yonex, known as the price increase king, has seen its mainstream high-end model, as Vivi Davis Fantasy, priced at 210 RMB before April, then rising to 225 RMB. And after July, it soared to 225 RMB. And after July, it soared to 275 RMB. For someone like me, who is not skilled and doesn't play twice a month, it doesn't matter. However, for those who play intensively, the impact is more profound. Originally, when a badminton bird's feather was broken, they would change it on. Now, they must play until the ball is completely flat. The Shukrang data shows that last year, duck feather manufacturers quoted 1 entente, 80 cents per kilogram, which rose to 173 cents in June this year, an increase of 60% per kilogram. Goose feathers have also risen from 4.5 per piece to nearly 1 RMB. Brands are also anxious, with Yashalong angrily issuing an announcement to suppliers. Oris, the feathers are rising, and so are the balls. The price of badminton has entered a vicious cycle, implying that such unsportsmanlike conduct will lead to no one being able to play if the prices continue to rise. An article in Senthian mentioned that badminton is made from 14 to 16 natural feathers from the wings of geese or ducks, with the best quality being goose feathers, followed by mallard duck feathers, and then water duck feather. The balls used to be made of pure mallard duck feathers, but now the official product descriptions have mixed in duck feathers, which results in more wear and tear when played. Everything related to ducks seems to be rising. 10 years ago, Mixawai Yadu was still 45 RMB per gin, but now the sweet and spicy duck neck 300 grams can be sold for nearly 40 RMB. A few duck tongues, a little duck neck, and some lotus root and kelp cost 80 RMB. How can you not change your name to despair, Espuhai Yo? Why don't you change your name to Chow Tai Fuck? The reasons for the price increase of down jackets are the rising costs of duck and goose down. The reasons for the price increase of badminton are the rising costs of feather slices. The reasons for the price increase of marinated flavors are the rising costs of duck. These reasons are all correct. I admit that ducks and geese have indeed become fewer. According to the Monitoring and Statistics of the China Animal Agriculture Association, in 2019, the number of commercial meat ducks sold was 4.88 billion, and the number of commercial geese sold was 630 million, reaching a historical high. This was the peak of ducks and geese. After 2020, the number of ducks sold has been falling all the way, and by 2023, the number of commercial meat ducks sold has dropped to 4.218 billion, and the number of commercial geese has dropped to 515 million. That is to say, in 5 years, the number of ducks has decreased by 600 million, and the number of geese has decreased by 100 million. Why have ducks and geese become fewer? The mainstream view is that under the influence of this super pig cycle of sharp rises and falls, a suppression cycle has occurred. In other words, the second brother placed the pigman days. Raising ducks is not the same as raising pigs, which grow very fast. The suppression cycle was not obvious before, but it couldn't withstand the ups and downs of pork prices since 2019, which was too exciting. The African swine fever led to a surge in pig prices from 2018 to 2019, and those who couldn't afford to buy chicken, duck, and goose increased. The scale of poultry farming increased significantly. In 2019, the number of meat ducks sold reached its peak. Doing business is like telling a joke, which emphasizes 4 words: Oris rush in. Subsequently, ducklings fell from 7 RMB 7 JO per piece in 2019 to 3 JO per piece in 2021, and breeding farms began to reduce production. The production capacity dropped by half in 3 years. At the same time, the pig industry expanded without restraint. And it was also in 2021 that the price of pork fell all the way. And it hasn't recovered yet. Every time the price of pork rises a little, it is immediately suppressed. On one hand, pork is getting cheaper and cheaper. And the main hard dish of the ancients still has to be the second brother, match the pig right. On the other hand, there is an overcapacity of ducks, and raising them means losing money. Luke Zhen said, "There were not so many expensive ducks in the world, and they became expensive when there were fewer people raising them." As a result, a duck shortage began to appear in the second half of 2022, and in January 2023, the price of ducklings soared from 2 RMB per piece to 7 RMB per piece. The grand curtain of this round of ducks and geese carnival thus opened. It seems to be a perfect interpretation of a cycle of price fluctuations in downstream products, caused by changes in the supply and demand of raw materials. Wait a minute. The next part is the key point of our discussion: the price increase of badminton, down jackets, and duck necks. Blaming the second brother placed the pigute. Is it really just that simple, that ducks and geese have become fewer? The impact of this round of pig cycles and suppression cycles is definitely there, but it is not as serious as the merchants depict. First, let's look at the marinated flavor. The price of meat ducks has actually been declining, but the price of marinated flavor has not dropped back. Taking duck neck as an example, the raw material market price last year rose to 27 RMB per kilogram. And in the first half of this year, duck neck has dropped to less than 20 RMB. The marinated flavor just doesn't reduce the price. The gross profit margin of Emperor, Ding, and Despair is on the rise. Then let's look at down jackets. In 5 years, the number of ducks has decreased by 600 million, compared with a volume of several billion. Is a 10% decrease considered a significant decline? It definitely doesn't count. The number of ducks sold in 2023 is even more than that in 2022. So the down jacket merchants complain about the high cost, and those who raise ducks also have something to say. The boss of Huiyang Agriculture, the leader of Down Feathers, said that the amount of down filling in a down jacket is about 150 to 200 grams. Judging from the current increase in down feathers, the cost spread to each down jacket will not exceed 50 RMB, and it is difficult to drive the price increase of down jackets by more than 200 RMB. It's more about labor and transportation costs. That is to say, your down jacket can increase, but don't blame us who raise ducks for the price increase of hundreds of RMB per piece of clothing. It seems that only the price increase of badminton is indeed caused by the supply and demand gap. First, the raw material of badminton comes from the sword feathers of ducks and geese. Although the total number of meat ducks has not decreased much, the number of meat ducks suitable for making badminton has been declining. In 2019, the number of meat ducks that can make badminton sold was 2 billion. And by 2023, this number has become 1.2 billion, a decrease of 40%, far exceeding the total decrease of meat ducks by about 10%. Second, in recent years, too many people have been playing badminton. Everyone wants to play a few games when they're free. According to the data from the General Administration of Sport, in the past 2 years, badminton has been one of the sports with the highest number of participants in China, with as many as 250 million people. Looking at the sales expenses of marinated flavors, several giants have maintained a high sales expense rate. Suhaya was 33.4% in the first half of 2023, and it increased to nearly 40% in the first half of this year. Why spend so much? Because the number of self-operated stores is increasing, and they need to expand and grab the market. Rent and wages have to be taken from consumers. Looking at the sales expenses of down jackets, taking Basading as an example, the sales expenses in 2019 were 3.4 billion, and in 2024, they increased to 8 billion. In 6 years, the marketing expenses amounted to $32.87 billion. Why spend so much? Because they want to invite brothers to endorse, to be high-end, and to do IP co-branding. Therefore, the decrease in ducks and geese does have a significant impact, but it is not the only factor for price increases. The price increase of badminton can still be disguised by cost, but for down jackets, especially reeds, the price increase is more due to the brand strategy that goes along with the flow. You can't just use the pig cycle as a shield. I once read a book called The Economic Way of Thinking, which said that the causal relationships in the economy are often systemic interactions, not a simple one-way causal relationship like playing billiards. The supply and demand changes of pigs and ducks and the price fluctuations of food, clothing, and entertainment are actually caused by the interaction between upstream and downstream industries, enterprises, and consumer. Of course, we will not simply attribute price increases to human greed and wave moral sticks to blame corporate pricing. That's too boring. The simple truth is that the consequences of pricing strategies, whether good or bad, will be taught by the market. However, manufacturers use cost as an all-purpose reason for price increases, all attributed to ducks, geese, and even pigs. In order to achieve the goal of a single brand, it is very reasonable to master the industry's pricing power. But the posture is a bit ungraceful. It's a bit harsh to say it's looting, but it's appropriate to say it's making the most of the situation.